This is the last remaining temporary industry on the Quebec and New England Railroad. I have been putting off completing it for years now, and I've made it my New Year's resolution to finally replace this cardboard mock-up with a scratch-built styrene model. I will be using some plans and images of a real CN steel transfer facility located in Hamilton, Ontario. If I was to build it fully to scale, it would be 4 feet long, so I'm just going to pretend that it continues through the backdrop. Still, I'll be able to fit 3 cars on each track. That's about half the length of the prototype. I've never done a video series on scratch building in industry before, so I don't know how well this will turn out. I guess we'll all find out together. Here's a quick geography lesson from Google Earth. Here's Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, there's Toronto, and here's Hamilton. We're going to try and zoom in here, see if we can find our steel facility. And there it is. There we are. This is a view looking north, so it's the south side of the building. On the south side of the building, there's a smaller extension to the building which is used for pallet unloading. So boxcars will occasionally come in and unload. There are 2 doors. I can show you the front here. Yeah, there are 2 loading doors for tractor trailers. You can see here the 2 tracks going inside the building. Here's an example of 2 bulkhead flat cars with steel plates. So you can see it's not just used for coil, it's used for any kind of steel transloading. It looks like different from what are on the plans. A vestibule of sorts has been added here for trucks to drive through. I'm assuming it's on their way out, perhaps to finalize their tie downs. It's quite long though. It's more than a car length long, so it looks to be about 80 or so feet long. There's also a large office that's been added that wasn't on the plans, or at least not on the plans in this location. If we rotate the view back, this is the rear end, the building that actually we're modeling as if it protrudes through the backdrop. So really, the model gets cut off, something like that here. Although we do have the suggestion of the roadway going around the back for the trucks to enter through the back end. And rotating some more, we'll get a view of the south side. So this is facing the edge of the layout. I believe on the drawings that I have, there was originally supposed to be an office here, but it appears that they've built the office much larger and located it here in the front of the building. I'll try and zoom in here and get a closer look at some of the details if we can. So this isn't a bad view. You can see the roof details quite clearly here. This is the 24-inch spacing standing seam roof system. Not as easy to see the detail on the wall system here, but fortunately we have information on the drawings that indicate it's a storm seal panel system. And I looked up the storm seal product on the internet and got an appreciation for exactly what that ribbing looks like close up. Let's see, one more rotation here. We'll get a front view. There we go. There, perfect. There You see the bulkhead gone. Let's see how much we can zoom in before Google goes wild. You can see it's starting to break up already. Google doesn't like to zoom in too much. Here is a cross-section view of the prototype building. You see here there's the two tracks on the left for coil cars, gondolas. It says boxcar here on the drawing, but that's because there's this pallet storage area here where they do occasionally receive boxcars. The building is 45 feet tall and 140 feet wide, including this section here. You can see there's the lanes for trucks to drive through for the transfer of coils and other materials from gondolas, coil cars to the trucks. And there's an area here marked coil storage. This drawing is useful because it also speaks to the outside materials that are used in the construction of the building. It says here pre-finished storm seal metal cladding, and on the roof it talks about SL24 standing seal roof design. That's a 24-inch spacing roof system. So in HO scale, this building is about a little over 6 inches tall, and it'll be about 19 inches wide, including this section here. The plan also shows where the overhead gantry would run. You can see the hook hanging down here where they would transfer coils to the coil storage, or from the coil storage back onto flatbed trucks. It would be used for more than just coils. There could be any kind of steel materials transferred from railway cars to truck delivery cars. Now here is the plan view, and you can see the original is 350 feet long. This line here that I've marked is where the model will hit the back of the layout wall. So I'm really only making 3 car lengths of length, and the prototype, we assume it goes through the wall, but we can really only fit 3 cars in. You see here's the area marked boxcar pallet storage. So we do get boxcars delivered here, coil storage here. And this is neat because with all the dimensions here, I can figure out exactly how to build it from the inside out. So you can see there's the spacing of the vertical columns shown here. And I will be attempting anyway to build this the way the prototype was built, perhaps not with every exact steel member in the building, but enough that if I wanted to take the roof off and detail the interior at some time in the future, it wouldn't be totally out of place. This is the Storm Seal website. It's a very common product, from what I gather. There's a close-up of the sections of the steel cladding. It comes in either narrow rib or wide rib, which is really another way of saying they can flip the panel, showing the narrow ribs to the outside of the building or the narrow ribs to the inside of the building. So the wide rib would look like this on the outside, and the narrow rib would look like that on the outside. I've seen it both ways. I just don't know whether this building is built with the narrow ribs out or the wide ribs out. Also worth noting that the spacing of the ribs are 12 inches peak to peak, and the flat space between the ribs is 8 inches. So each rib is 4 inches from valley to peak to valley. So the trick is trying to find a styrene product that looks like this. One of the questions I'm also asking myself is whether this product was in use in the time frame that I'm modeling, which is the late 1980s. According to the website, they've been in business since 1976, so there's a good chance that it would have been around in the late 80s. Another feature to point out, there seems to be some low relief ribbing between the major ribs. Looks like there's 2 rows of ribbing between each. This is not something that I've seen in the model universe. I've seen from Evergreen models to what they call the V groove styrene sheets, but they don't have these little indents in between the main ribs. So it would look, I think, too smooth to represent this. I know Pike Stuff has some products that look something like this. They call it their roofing material. I'm going to have a look at it more closely and see if that makes sense to use.